Hey everybody, G4 Video 5 here, and welcome back to some more Grand Theft Auto Vice City, the Definitive Edition. In this part, we will be completing the 4 off-road vehicle missions that you can do that are requirements to complete in order to get your percentage points for 100%, and we begin here with PCJ Playground, which requires us to use this PCJ to collect 24 checkpoints scattered around this nearby area within 2 minutes after collecting the first checkpoint. And I actually don't mind this off-road vehicle mission too much. I'd say it's probably my favorite out of all 4, which might sound crazy, cone crazy, one could say. Ooh, yeah, a bit of foreshadowing there, but, it might sound crazy because the bike isn't exactly the best vehicle in the first iteration in which we have bikes in Grand Theft Auto games, but I find that here in the Definitive Edition version of this game, I've said this before, the bikes are a bit more tolerable to deal with because it's a bit more difficult to fall off your bike in this version of the game, so getting a bit wild with how you're driving around the place is not that big of a deal at times, and I like how I'm talking about getting all wild as I accidentally run somebody over there and attract police attention to myself, but thankfully, this little side mission is almost over, so that police attention will be ineffectual. So that's pretty good stuff there. But yeah, this mission not too shabby here. This next side mission that we're doing is Cone Crazy, located at this spot in Vice City. So I am showing off the locations of each of these off-road vehicle missions. This one here, Cone Crazy, is a very infamous side mission. For those of you familiar with Grand Theft Auto Vice City speedruns, because this mission used to be used back in the day to generate massive amounts of money, and you could even do this casually if you really wanted to, like when you first load up the game. If you wanted millions of dollars, this side mission is for you. As what you can do is on your first attempt of beating Cone Crazy, you want to take up as much time as you possibly can before collecting that final checkpoint, because that makes it to where you can continuously beat your previous high score over and over again until it's physically impossible to beat the time any further. As on your second attempt at doing Cone Crazy, in order to pass the mission, you need to beat your previous time, so you would want to take up the second most amount of time as possible. And then on your third attempt, again, you have to beat that previous time, so you'd end up taking the third most amount of time as possible, and so on and so forth until you physically can't do it anymore. And the reason why this is important is because the money reward that you end up getting for subsequent completions of Cone Crazy doubles. So that first time we ended up beating Cone Crazy, we got $200. Then for the second time, if we were to do that, we would get $400. For the third time, you'd get $800, and so on, until you start racking up millions and millions of dollars to trivialize money altogether. Wouldn't that be fantastic IRL? To just do a couple of driving tests over and over again, beating your score, and then, you can buy all the Cheez-Its and Dr. Pepper to your heart's content. That would be Cone Crazy, one would say. But anyway, one can see why that side mission would be very important in the early days of Grand Theft Auto Vice City speedrunning, because the amount of money that you generate makes it to where you don't have to do as many extra missions for money, because you would have plenty of money to buy all of the assets that you need to buy in order to beat the game. So that's pretty cool stuff. Interestingly, outside of the money aspect, there's really no replay value to Cone Crazy. Nothing changes on subsequent attempts. Same thing for PCJ Playground for that matter, but with this particular side mission, Trial by Dirt, in which we're using a dirty Sanchez to drive on dirt to collect these checkpoints scattered around the place, and you also got to be careful taking damage there. Those hills get a bit Cone Crazy themselves. But Trial by Dirt and also Test Track, which is the next side mission after this, both have a bit of replay value, oddly enough, because this first time that we beat both of these side missions, there's nothing really special about them. We're just collecting these checkpoints. It's pretty straightforward, but after beating both Trial by Dirt and Test Track for the first time, and then re-attempting the side mission to beat your previous score, 4 explosive barrels end up getting placed on the track to make it a bit more challenging. And then after that, If you were to reattempt the mission a third time after beating it twice before, rain will begin falling from the sky, making the track all slippery, nice and moist there. Which is challenging because you have rain physics to deal with. And so after beating your previous time again and then attempting doing Trial by Dirt again, you'll have 3 hostile Haitian gang members spawning in, armed with machetes, riding around on their uniquely colored black dirty Sanchez's, which is pretty cool because then you could steal one for yourself and stare at it or do whatever people do with their uniquely colored vehicles. But their purpose, those hostile Haitian gang members, is to slit your neck, so you gotta be careful about that. And I don't know, I might sound a bit coon crazy going off about this, but I've always found it really creepy when the AI is just so hell-bent and dead set on taking you out, because those hostile Haitian gang members will have no regard for the bumps and hills in this dirt track. They will just go directly after you in a straight line. And so they actually end up screwing themselves over at times by falling off of their bike repeatedly because they can't get over certain hills or something. And it's funny, but still creepy nonetheless. And all of those things I ended up listing off for Trial by Dirt can happen on any attempt of doing that side mission when you're playing the PlayStation 2 version of the game. So imagine that. It's your first time playing the game. You find this fantastic looking dirt track and you hop on the dirty Sanchez, and then you see checkpoints, so you're thinking, oh, okay, I'm just collecting checkpoints, I'll do that. Then all of a sudden it gets dark and it starts raining. And then you have those gang members popping out of the woodworks all of a sudden, chasing after you. All those things happening at once is a very scary sight to see. My nipples are quivering over the thought, so thankfully we don't have to do that during this playthrough. But I do want to point out what happens during Test Track at that point, where instead of Haitian gang members, you will have a Patrol Invest Group security guard in a uniquely colored black rancher that will chase after you. So not as scary, but still interesting nonetheless. But I'd say that just about wraps up these side missions. So in the next part, we will take care of the RC vehicle missions. So until then, I will see you next time.